Like I have advisors, I have people that having somebody that's not in the company that I can kind of like, you know, just talk with things about is useful, and I think effective. Yeah, I think it's an important thing. And then, you know, for me, I've kind of said like when I am physically exercising and checking that box, I feel better mentally, right? So I know that about myself. And then also, you mentioned friends, right? Sometimes that can be a thing that falls off, and it's just a capacity and time thing. But for me, like I feel complete and like in a good balanced place in my life when I have connections with loved ones and friends, right? So like if I feel out of balance, I can probably look at those things and say like, I haven't hung out with a friend for a month and a half. Maybe that's why, right? Or I'm totally out of my workout routine. So yeah, it's just, you know, those won't be the same for other people. Maybe the personal connection one is, that's pretty universal, but you know, some people love creative art and design. Some people love just being in nature, whatever it is, right? Just make sure you're doing it. Right, and if you're not, you're probably going to feel it mentally. Yeah, there's all sorts of other things that I wish I could say I do. I've tried to journal and some other things. That's one that I haven't got to stick yet, but I do think that's valuable if you can figure out how to build a habit.
So next one of my favorite subjects, fundraising in Seattle. Like it's I don't know, it's just such a challenge here, right? Like I have negative, like a lot of negative things, right? Like I heard a lot of VCs like we've only like investment fundable companies. Well, why do so many companies go somewhere else to get funding like almost instantly, right? You know, just like in Seattle, it seems like, you know, you need like 8-round makers for pre-seed round. I know you successfully raised some money in the area though. So what's your take on this? How have you been kind of successful with other companies that have not been successful?
Yeah, the approach I took was I did kind of professional network first, like a friends and family round, and I did that to mostly because I was a first-time founder. I didn't have the VC network. I didn't have the serial founder credibility, and so I had to go, you know, pitch this to people that are of high net worth, but that, you know, I could get to kind of believe in me, right? Like, I'm going to go make something happen. Here's the technology. Let's get enough to get off the ground. And then, so it's kind of like, you know, validation points all along the way. Like, if you can get anybody to invest in you, that is a validation point. And so then next, I went to angel investors and angel syndicate groups. And so they're typically more agnostic. It's like, if it's a good idea and there's a market for it, it's maybe okay if it's not AI. Maybe, just maybe. So angel investors, of course, this is not common knowledge, right? But they can write earlier checks, and you maybe don't need to meet the same wickets as VC. And then, you know, for me, I've only gone to kind of local seed level VC firms. And again, it's ones that are not software and AI focused for me. I do have, you know, a data AI implementation that can come later on, but it's not developed enough for me to be like, hey, we're an AI company, so invest in us. So it's tough to not be able to ride a wave, right? And AI is the wave right now. And Seattle has some of the best AI talent in the world. We do. And so, of course, it makes sense that the Seattle VCs want to specialize on that. It becomes hard for everybody else, though. Even, you know, software SaaS companies are a bit left out right now. So yeah, I mean, I think everybody in Seattle kind of knows it. All the founders kind of know it. I haven't done a lot of raising outside of Seattle, but what I did is I kind of tapped my capacity in Seattle and then recognized I need to go do some other things before I'm ready to go back and make any more impact in VC. And that is just traction, progress. For us, commercial partnerships, that's what we're working on right now.
Are you going to do another fundraising anytime soon? It's like down the road.
You know, what I've recognized is our best path is strategic. So that could be strategic partnership for go-to-market, and also it can be strategic investment. And our goal is to build strong strategic partnerships that would make sense to turn into a strategic investment. And then when you have that, it's a lot easier to go to VC. even when you don't fit the exact mold, but you have the traction commercially and you have, strategic investment that can be paired with some VC around it. So it's almost like flipping the model a little bit. You don't find the lead VC and then fill it around. You find the lead strategic and then bring some VC in around it.
So I don't know if you saw this. It was on social media. It was somewhere like maybe 6 months, maybe a year ago, where they were like kind of like making fun of the AI focus, right? And the thing was, I actually did like a fun video, right? There's one guy, hey, they went to two companies for the same VC. Hey, I've cured cancer, the proof. I'm not interested. Other guy, hey, I have a pizza food truck. I use an AI, $10 million. I don't have any AI engineers. Another $10 million.
It's sad how close that is, right?
It is very sad how close it is. I mean, like 3 years ago, it was like NFTs, cryptocurrency, we get all the money.
Right, and it's tough because like that's the way it is, and it sucks in certain ways, but it's also hard to blame the industry that's the way it is right now, because you look back at kind of the internet phase, and that was a huge crash and burn.
Yeah.
But the companies that made it through that are all the most valuable companies in the world today, right? And so if you're looking at what's it going to look like in 15 years,
you don't know.
Companies that make it through this AI wave are probably going to be the most valuable companies in the world, or at least absorbed into, right? And that's the VC model. It's like make bets on a lot of companies, and some are going to win out. Probably the AI companies that are the best are going to be the most valuable. So I get it. It does suck though.
Sucks a lot, yeah. Another thing too, like obviously your tech, you're actually solving a real problem, right? But like, do we really need another dating app? Do we need another rideshare app, right? Like, what tech is out there? Who's out there like actually building a tech that's actually making the world better, right? You obviously are what? I just think there's too many tech founders like solving some, I don't want to say bullshit problems, but bullshit problems, right?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a bigger focus on solving important problems for the world, and it's tough in our society because it's so financially focused, and solving the biggest problems aren't always the biggest financial winners.
Like one of my pet peeves, I'm an HR, right? But there are so many HR recruiting startups just in Seattle, right? When I first got involved in startups, like 10 years ago, I worked for a HR recruiting startup, right? Yeah. And the problem has never been solved, right? And all these startups like AI is still the same problem, right? Like I just, whenever someone says, "Hey, Jason, give me your input on starting an HR recruiting process," I don't. Like, don't. There's too many out there already. No one solved it, right? But they keep on doing it, and people and VCs keep on investing big ass money in it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I think as a founder, it's important to just align your values, right? It's like, am I trying to go make the most money, or am I trying to make a difference? And of course, you can't do something that's super important, but there's no chance of making money.
You gotta make money. Yeah.
But
we're not running nonprofits.
Yeah, like align it with your values and don't sell out, right? I think that's important, and down the line, you won't regret that, I don't think.
So how are companies a reflection of their founders?
In a big way. I think our company, I'm an engineer, I'm very technical, and so a lot of our time, energy, focus went to making the best product, and a lot of that is a reflection of why I was comfortable and okay with bringing in a strong go-to-market leader to complement what I was doing, because your focus and everything you're doing seeps down into everybody, right? And so if I'm very excited about making the best technology for the world, that's what my company is going to care about, right? And so just intentionally understanding that and finding ways to balance is important, and understanding your gaps. There's things that you're weak at, and then there's things that you don't know that you're weak at, and so you got to learn those too by listening to people, asking and listening. And then if you have some gaps personally, those are going to be gaps in your company if you don't address them. So
obviously to be an engineer, you need a degree. But what makes someone an engineer? Like, are y'all taught to think differently, or look at the problems of different aspect or way, or different perception? What makes someone an engineer?
I think you do kind of break things down into their parts. You don't look at it at face value. And
so you're talking about like first principles and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think you ask why a few more times than somebody that's not trained to, right? Something is presented, and you're like, interesting. I wonder why it's like that, right? You know, just taking a moment to analyze what's going on with it, and then sometimes that's a waste of time, but sometimes that leads you down a whole different path that without the technical background and the curiosity and questioning mentality, you maybe wouldn't do, right? So, you know, I think a lot of people who are MBAs and business people could have chosen to go become engineers, and with training anybody can kind of learn to think like that, but it is just kind of taking that extra step and asking why a few more times.
What's something you haven't learned yet that you want to learn?
Well, you know, I talked about the AI wave. I would say I use AI tools, but there's just this reality where this is going to become such a big part of the world. And I think no matter how late you are to the party, right? Like I didn't get an AI focused degree, but if I were to go spend the time now to learn more and more about it, I'm going to be, you know, so much better suited in 5 years. So that's something that I've thought about, and you know, running a business, everything in life, it's hard to carve out time for something that's not directly insertable into what you're doing. But I do think it's not ever too late to dive in and learn about, you know, how AI is going to be a part of all of our lives, and kind of not being just a receiver of it, right? So like we could choose to just whatever is developed comes to us and that's now our life, right? Or you can, you know, in some way be a part of that movement. And like I think especially when people are entrepreneurial, if you know just enough about something like artificial intelligence, there's going to be a lot more, you're going to have a lot more knowledge about how certain things could happen integrated in with that, you know? So yeah, we'll see how long it takes, right? But I think that's something that I'll do.
And how many people work for you right now?
I have 12 people, and we've kind of moved more into a consultant model where we're, you know, our technical teams, we're doing less employees and more kind of on a contract basis. And that's really just based on this notion that like we're doubling down on strategic partnership, and so we don't need to be a big team internally. We can kind of partner with in different ways.